Hello, hello. All right. Well, haven't posted a video in a while, but I've been I've been debating on posting this for a while now. Um, I have an experience that I would like to share, and one of the reasons why I've been kind of hesitant with sharing it is due to the possibility of I don't know. I guess potential backlash, though. Um, I don't think. I don't think that's anything really to be too concerned about. But it's definitely something that can be considered, I guess, as controversial regarding what took place. So, what I'm going to be sharing with you today is an experience I had with an alien abduction, and you're not going to believe what I was shown. So, so this took place uh, almost a year ago, sometime around the 20th. I think it was like the 22nd or something. I'm not exactly sure of last year. So the June of last year. No, July of last year. My bad. July of last year. This is when this experience took place. So while I was camping up in Strawberry, California, um, it was just one of my favorite spots to go to in the area. Typically, not too many people go out there, so it's nice and secluded, a great view, and I can have my dogs run around freely. So I really enjoy going out there. So on this day, I drove up into the mountains, and I was at the time I was driving a van. I was driving a Honda Odyssey, and so I drove up into the mountains, and I was just gonna basically car camp, just camp in the van up there, and that was just gonna be my first night on this journey that I was going on. So I went up to this camp spot that is just just outside of the little town Strawberry, and you drive up to the top of the mountain range, and there's a dirt road that'll kind of take me out onto this mountaintop view where there's a bit of clearing. I don't know. For some reason, there's like a large pile of like these white rocks that were kind of just like kind of evenly kind of spread out. So seeing that, I was like, okay, I'll just park right on top of that. That way, it's because it's in the center. I get the best view, and I don't know. It looks like almost like a placemat of some sort. So I figured camping on there seemed appropriate. So I drive the van up onto the spot, and my night basically just went as it normally does while I'm out there camping. I eventually go to bed, not too late. It's probably like, I don't know, 9, 10 o'clock. I was tired, so I wasn't staying up too late. But once we all got tucked in for the night, or not tucked in, it kind of went into the van and kind of laid down, and I had the center seat of the van removed, so I just had the two front seats and the rear seat in the van, the very, very, very back, the third row. So the second row was removed, and that's where the dogs were sleeping. They're sleeping on the ground, and I was laying down on that back bench. That's where I was sleeping. So while I was sleeping there, um, I don't know if you've ever experienced anything along the lines of what do they call it? A sleep. Shoot, I just had it in my head. A sleep paralysis. I've experienced this in my past and whatnot. Never ever an enjoyable experience. It's typically, I don't know, more of a frightening experience. But this time, when I kind of woke up in this sleep um, paralysis kind of state, kind of just woke up, kind of laying down in the back seat. It was dark out, still in the van. And I just couldn't move. I was just kind of laying there, kind of looking for, like, oh shoot, like what's going, like this sucks, like this is happening again. But unlike all those other times, this time I actually levitated. I don't know for a fact whether it was like my entire physical body that levitated or just the spirit within myself, but I would be leaning towards saying it was more than likely in my physical body, because I do not recall, I guess, being able to, I guess, look down on myself. It wasn't like an outer body experience. Where I moved is where I went, and I was no longer laying down on this bench. So while I was laying down there, and then I levitated, slowly kind of floated to the center of the van, and then I paused there for a second, and then I kind of slowly started rotating clockwise. I rotated 3 times, and while this was happening, this is where I started to get a little, I guess, nervous, more so concerned of that I'm gonna fall down on my dogs that are sleeping, and this hasn't woken them up. They're still sleeping, and I see them kind of beneath me, kind of sleeping as I'm levitating and rotating, and I'm like, I was just thinking to myself, like, please don't fall. Please don't fall. Please don't fall. Like, this would be a terrible time to kind of just fall down on top of my dogs, and then just be a very confusing situation. But I did not fall. What did happen is it's just after the 3rd rotation, I just came to a very brief pause, and then I just shot into the sky. It's still in the laying down position, somehow going through the roof of the van. And this was a very quick, aggressive kind of acceleration. The only thing I kind of related to would be the sensation you get from kind of like a roller coaster, that the sensation of that you're pulling a lot of G's. There's a lot of that sensation going on, but I did not feel any sort of I guess wind, because I've gone skydiving, and the sensation you get from skydiving is just you're falling, and it just feels like there's this huge amount of wind just blowing at you. That was not happening. It's almost as if there was no air. I just rocketing up, zero resistance to air, being able to feel the G-force, and I end up just going so far out to the point where I was able to look down as I was still going, and I see Earth in the distance, and I'm still accelerating, and then I eventually come to a stopping point. I stopped near this this huge metallic, extremely smooth metallic object. I stopped really close to it. By the time I noticed it, I was basically like right next to it, so I wasn't able to get a full-on far out perspective of exactly what this thing looked like. But I was able to see it right next to me. It was just this insanely smooth metallic surface. And then there's this door that slides open. It's just slid open real smooth. It just almost like I don't know, it just slid up real smooth up into itself. And then there was just this dark, basically, room or door thing. It wasn't very large, but I eventually just start floating into this metallic looking thing, and then once I'm all the way in, the door's shut, and then it gets completely dark. And this is where it really starts to get strange, as if it wasn't already kind of far out already. So this is what happens next. So after it gets completely dark, and in regard to that's the feelings I was having as I was going through this process, I thought I died, because I figured, like, oh, okay, perhaps life caught up to me. I died in the van, and that was my spirit leaving my body, leaving the earth and whatnot. Um, but even though that was happening, I was overwhelmed with the sensation that this is something that was supposed to happen. Like I had zero fear of what was taking place, though I feel like if you would have told me that this is going to happen in the future, I more than likely would have been like, "Whoa, this is probably going to be a terrifying experience." But that wasn't the case. So as I'm overwhelmed with this feeling of like I'm going through this process that for some reason is supposed to take place, I'm in this metallic thing. It's dark, and then once it's been completely dark for just a moment, it's almost as if I just slip out of consciousness from that state, and then I immediately wake up in a chair. I wake up in a chair that's in a very hospital-looking like setting. That's probably the easiest way I can explain this. It was like a building of some sort that I woke up in. And I woke up to someone speaking to me. It was as I felt as if someone called me by my name, but it wasn't my name that was given to me here on Earth. It's like I woke up in this body and I was called by this name, and like I knew like this they were referring to me. But I didn't see anyone there. So it felt more like I was being spoken to through some sort of a telepathy. And so I wake up in this chair, and I look down on my arms, and I can tell it's me because I can see these certain imperfections that I've kind of, I guess, done to my body and whatnot. But the part that's kind of trippy, to say the least, was that when I woke up in this body, I was a reptilian. I wasn't human. I woke up in this body, and I had this kind of easiest way to explain it is kind of like if you kind of look like at an alligator or whatnot. I just had just that kind of scaly skin, if that's the right way to. I don't know, it was lizard-like skin, kind of a green, kind of brown, whatnot. So I was able to see my arms, and then so I was kind of taking in what was going on, but someone had referred to my name, called my name, so I stood up out of my chair, and I instinctively stood up and started walking left down this hallway. And as I was walking, I was kind of taking in the situation, like, holy crap, like, I'm in this kind of a lizard-like body. I really want to get a closer look and hopefully catch my reflections. I can see what it is that's going on, or just to get a better idea of what's going on. So I'm walking down this hallway as this woman continues to speak to me through telepathy. And basically, this was just basically a beginning of a tour. At least that's what it seems to have been. It seemed like I was going about this tour of this where I started off in a building. So I walk through this building, and then I get to the doors, and I step outside. And once I step outside, the sensations start to, I guess, become. I don't know. I get overwhelmed. This overly peaceful, positive, just great feeling kind of a thing. And I was walking around this outside, and just seeing other people and others that were there. They were humans. They were just kind of sitting around, kind of like on this, almost like a lawn kind of a thing. Everyone is just so happy and just talking to each other, and you can just have this overwhelming feeling of peace inside of me. And the air felt thick, almost like as if it was was, I don't know, moist but not, but it was kind of like this thick air. The hair of these women that I kind of seen off of the distance were vaguely, or not vaguely, or kind of almost like it was floating a little bit. So I don't know if that was a representation of slightly less gravity in this area, or we're in a some type of an atmosphere that is thicker that kind of lets things kind of float like they're in water. That's kind of what it looked like, but obviously weren't in water. But yeah, so I was there for a while, and I was starting to contemplate to myself, like, man, like, did I really die? Like, am I no longer going to return to my body? Because like, at this point, I've been here for a while, kind of been observing the area, and kind of like, I wasn't terrified of the idea of not returning to my body, but it was just in shock that I had left it. But anyhow, I continued to hang out there, and this place had some very advanced technology where it, like, there was these insect looking kind of robots that would kind of float through the air, and sometimes they would kind of land on me, like how this one landed on my arm very gently, and then it kind of like was just kind of looking at me, kind of saying hi, and just kind of floated away again. And so those were the smaller ones, and they were kind of floating around in groups. And there was also these really large buildings. They're kind of in a shape of rings, and so these large ring shape structures that were kind of just floating and slowly rotating. And there's a couple of them, I don't know how many, but there's definitely more than one, at least two, and there's several of them kind of just floating in the sky. And I was just in shock and just in awe with what was taking place. And then essentially, after going all of that, I was just sitting there kind of taking in everything. And then before I know it, it was kind of like in a snap. I automatically wake up back in the van. It is now daylight out. Maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8. I typically wake up early at a sunrise, so the fact that I woke up and it was already daylight out was kind of surprising. But I was just fully awake. Like, it was just like a snap. I went from being completely awake and almost like a different body to being completely awake, laying down in a van exactly how I was when I went to sleep, as if I did not toss or turn all night long. And then I woke up, and I just immediately was just like, what in the world happened last night? Something really, really strange. And the only thing I can try to relate this experience to was that I was abducted by an alien species of some sort, though I never saw any other aliens. The only alien looking thing that I saw was myself. Everyone else looked like humans. Beyond that, I don't know who was speaking to me through telepathy, but that took place. And yeah, so I did go back to this spot because I was really intrigued and trying to replicate this experience. Like, I was kind of wondering, kind of thinking, like, did I find a portal of some sort that allowed me to transport myself to this other place, whatever this other place may be. But when I did go back, I had another encounter, but this encounter I was completely awake. I did not go to sleep, and I had an encounter with, I guess, with the only, I guess, hint that I will give at this was that it was a giant of some sort. I'll post another video kind of breaking down the details of this giant. But in regards to who or what could have possibly have abducted me, I honestly don't know. But prior to this experience, I've had one other separate experience that it is that I'm kind of leaning towards of who could have possibly have done this, and it was an encounter with an Anunnaki that I had while I was camping out in the Mojave Desert. I may be willing to share more details about this encounter, but this one felt a bit more personal. But what he told me his name was can be, I think, something that can be very eye-opening or very controversial. So I'm not sure how willing I would be to share this, but I can only assume that it's quite possibly the Anunnakis were the ones who were responsible for this abduction, only because that is the only time I actually saw something that was not of this earth while on this earth. So yeah, so I don't know. I got a few more experiences I want to share. This one's definitely the primary one. This one was kind of just mind-blowing. It kind of took me a year to getting around to posting it. I've talked to some family members about it, kind of debating what it was that took place. It wasn't just a dream, because like I said, I was woken up while sleeping, and then I was taken away while I was in that kind of paralyzed state. So it was definitely something that happened. And I wasn't drunk or anything. I was sober when this took place. So I can't just say I had a crazy drunk night or whatnot. It's definitely something that happened. And yeah, so if this video does well, I've got a 2 or 3 other stories that I would like to share in regards to encounters I had with various other, I guess they would be referred to as cryptids, if I'm saying that right. Anyhow, well, thanks for checking this video out. I really hope that this information would help with, I don't know, the only thing I can possibly say is bring some hope, some peace, and possibly an eye-opening to the fact that there is more beyond than what is going on right here, right now on Earth. And I think what we're doing now here on Earth is going to possibly determine I guess what or where, or I guess what takes place beyond this life. So yeah, I don't know. That's all I got to share. Well, thanks again for checking this video out. Please share it with others if you found it something inspiring, because all I can say is ever since this has happened, my life has completely changed. It was such an eye-opener. Alrighty? Alright, well, thank you. I love you. Bye.